feel like I'm about to pass away. I ask that you watch over me. My time on earth is limited. I sense it. Susie, you will not die. You may be confident that we will take good care of you and monitor your condition closely. Do not be concerned. The nurse spoke softly, assuring the patient that they will be with them soon after their stay. The cancer ward nurses are amazing people. Taking care of cancer patients is a demanding job. Throughout the day and night, the nurses would visit my room and take my temperature, BP, and HR, among other vitals. After walking across the ward, I felt somewhat more grounded when I got back into bed, but I could still feel my spirit attempting to leave my body. I felt a swoosh when I sat up on the bed, and it was as if my soul were escaping my body like a funnel, ascending to my personal conception of heaven. I will never forget the extraordinary sensation and powerful emotion it evoked. Like I was soaring through the air. When I transformed into a spirit, I felt as if I were escaping the lovely sack of bones that is my physical body and becoming a gaseous spiral of energy. I was fully conscious of my existence and understood that my soul had left its usual physical form. As I departed from this physical form, a few profound truths about the world hit me. Among my cosmological revelations is the fact that, after we leave the physical body, time stands still. There is no fixed point in time that corresponds to when we depart this world and enter the universe beyond. During this whole ordeal, I completely lost all sense of time and place. In the following phase of my voyage, I discovered that I was being carried about the cosmos in the shape of a spirit. Being in a Hollywood film seemed most appropriate at this point. After I left my body behind, I saw a classic sky filled with stars. My body lay lifeless like a shell as my soul departed this world. Above and apart from my physical form, I was witnessing the unfolding of events. I noticed that the body I had inhabited since birth was no longer there as I looked down. As a result, I felt one with the celestial universe. Serenity, joy, and contentment washed over me at this place. I felt like I was floating on air. I experienced a merging with all living things as I departed from my physical form. I felt like I was whirling around in space, taking in the shapelessness of everything in this no-body condition. Everything is energy, and I felt this profoundly. The boundaries and borders that we see in our daily lives, I realized, are illusory and fleeting. Things like time, space, money, and lack were all part of this. When I left my body, the cosmos revealed itself to me. Experiencing a sensation of oneness with all things is like floating across space. An overwhelming sense of affection was present. I considered this to be the condition of an angel, completely fearless, with an overwhelming feeling of love for all. Time seemed irrelevant while I was out of my body. I had no idea how long it had been. Time stands still in this realm. Time is something we create, and everything is happening at once, I discovered. It is a constructed illusion. I was offered the choice to return to my physical body or remain in this other dimension, while my spirit was exploring the cosmos beyond. Choice. Being here, untainted by cares, felt great. It was an incredibly satisfying event. I had an innate sense that I had just one chance to choose between returning to my body or remaining outside of it. This was the one and only opportunity to come back. Do I remain a spirit or return to my body? It was the most important decision I've ever had to make. The pressure was on. I could have died or come back. Get back. I made up my mind early on that I wanted to get back into my body and continue living. I felt my purpose here on earth was incomplete without it. Even though I was 55 years old, my son was still a teenager, and I wanted to stay by his side during these formative years so I could offer him encouragement and guidance as he navigated this phase of his life. My youngest. I wanted to return for this reason in particular. There must be more to my life. I thought to myself. So much of my heart went into hoping that my little son will mature into a decent guy and have a successful life. It seemed as if my spirit had an obligation to complete. Reassuringly, I understood that resuscitation was an option. Although the cosmic journey around the universe was amazing, I already understood that space would not be my permanent home at this moment. There was a part of me that hoped and believed I would return to life. Returning next time, in what looked like a split second, I was detached from my physical form, yet it felt like an eternity. What stands out to me most from my time spent whirling about the cosmos is the realization that we live in an interconnected, energy-based universe. The universe based on energy. The basic idea was previously familiar to me. A few years ago, I penned a book on the subject of energy and frequency, little knowing that I would personally encounter this cosmic truth. We are energy creatures linked by consciousness, according to a lot of ancient wisdom that I have read. Instructions for Happiness and Success. My debut book delves deeply into this concept. The theory was becoming tangible for me at this point. To my knowledge, the explanation of life by quantum mechanics is based on energy. During my study for the book, I immersed myself in literature on quantum mechanics and quantum physics, which helped me understand these concepts. Concepts like interconnectivity and modern theories of consciousness were familiar to me. I felt what it's like to be floating above and gazing down on myself on this journey out of my body. We are energy beings, radiating frequency and vibrating all over the place. I got to witness this firsthand and knew it. The entire system is affected by a single change in one region of the universe. After years of reading about the subject, I finally grasped the big picture and could see how everything fit together. Individual background. From a practical standpoint, I can see how this concept could be challenging for some to grasp. Detailing my background. What transpired to me is what I am detailing here. This is based on my personal experience. To the end of my life, I shall never forget this occurrence. It is a miraculous and extraordinary experience to cross over from this world to the next and then return to the physical form. I feel very fortunate. It is a blessing that I was able to witness it. Despite everything, I remained brave and unfazed. After this life on earth comes to an end, I have faith that everything is taken care of and that there is still life beyond this one. I am richly prended. Count it as a blessing that this incident transpired and that I was able to partake in this extraordinary journey. The question of whether I wanted to return to my physical form was put to me directly. I sensed that we were at a crossroads. Reuniting with my body and starting over would be the result of my affirmative response. My soul would be set free if I refused to return. There would be no going back. In all likelihood, I will never set foot in this world again. I selected my option. My decision is final. Because my little son still needed me, it was simple. The loss of his mother occurred when he was still too little. Additionally, I had an innate sense that returning to my physical form would cure me. With a clean scan in hand, I could return to my body in perfect health. Indeed, this was the precise outcome. This occurred instantly upon making up my mind to return and establish that intention. I was whisked back into my physical form. The transition back to Earth life was as smooth as silk. It seemed like everything happened in a flash. Upon re-entry, I felt a sudden burst of brightness. This moment, which was both subtle and powerful, will remain etched in my memory forever. On opening my eyes, I discovered that I was once again laying on the hospital bed, precisely where I had begun. A fresh view, my outlook on life shifted, and my emotions evolved. I was transformed irrevocably. It seemed like from this moment on, everything changed. Prior to then, I was completely unaware of the existence of NDEs. It turns out that a lot of people go through this when they're up against death or other serious threats to their lives. On my return, the absence of terror was the most striking feature. Fear not. No matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't tap into that terrifying feeling. I felt as if the fear program had been removed from my mind. Dared to be brave. I experienced a sense of bravery and inner strength. Gratitude and wisdom washed over me. I should have kept quiet about what happened, because if I did, people would assume I was even more insane than I already was. Very few individuals knew what had transpired. It wasn't until much later that I felt comfortable enough to gradually start talking more about what happened. Telling my tale. On the same day that my death and re-entry into my body experience occurred, I informed my best friend and radio producer Gavin about it. Told him the whole story, but he was one of the few. I understood that the majority of people would probably assume I was crazy or hallucinating. Recounting the tale of your death and resurrection might be challenging. The widespread skepticism and refusal to believe in this possibility was what I had anticipated. When faced with a narrative like this, people are at a loss for words. Remaining silent. I was attempting to appear normal and healthy so that the nursing staff would let me leave this facility. Therefore, I was afraid to inform them about it. Sharing this fantastic event put me at risk of being diagnosed with a mental illness or prescribed heavy antipsychotic medicine, which I was prepared for. Novel emotional programs. Neither of these paths appealed to me, so I was cautious and told no one, except from a small circle of trusted friends, about it at the time. Upon my return to my physical form, I found that my mental software and operating system had been upgraded. The course of events would alter irrevocably. My perspective on life and the people in it started to shift. Other people's plights touch me more deeply. Feeling sorry for others, my tendency to place blame on others grew as I came to terms with the fact that everyone I encountered was operating within the confines of their own set of beliefs, programs, and cultural training. In this setting of being outside of my body, I realized the significance of intentions in relation to our experiences. Everything around you works in perfect harmony with your thoughts, intentions, and goals, as I witnessed myself, through a series of remarkable synchronicities. Intentions. This occurrence was covered in my book. I never imagined that something so wonderful would happen to me on a quantum field level. Knowing that I was mentally prepared to recover fully when I returned to my body was a reassuring sensation. The mending I required to produce these incredible, unexplainable results came from leaving and returning to my body. Even though my brain tumor had progressed to an advanced stage and appeared incapable